All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Watch me post my link to my channel and stuff. How do I? No, that's not right. How do I? Yeah, just like that. That's right. That's how it works. Do 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 do. Time for me to sing the "Do Doody Doo" song, which I know everybody loves at this point. We are live. New kinds of pasta you ain't even know about. If you don't know what's in the picture, then tap in! Exclamation point, and then photo. And then a link, and then we hit post, and it takes like an hour for tweets on Blue Sky to actually like send. Come on now, sent. Great. And we go to a couple discords, a couple little social circles, nothing crazy. Dinner time is live. Boom. Paste. And then I'll throw one in here. Live with rare Italian meal. And then, what was the last one? Oh, yeah, right here. Yeah. Dinner time live. Boom. Okie dokie. Stream elements, I am now live. That's actually all true as hell. I wrote that. That's actually all true. Okay. I'm gonna put you over here. Gonna get a couple things started. Oh, here's my cutting board. Yoink. A fofo. Hello, my darling. I know you're excited. And I know she's excited. Women, when they get to eat beauteous and gorgeous Italian mealsius. It's probably a good amount of garlic. Have to do some trimming on these, but that's okay. Let me get the old knife out. This is kind of a fun one, because I think this is probably the most authentic to my experience growing up Italian meal that I've made so far. There's some stuff I've made that, like, obviously growing up we ate that. But this is the one that is, I think, most interesting, and I've seen it around very infrequently. I believe I've alluded to it in previous streams, and I'm actually kind of making it now. With a couple differences. I'll explain what those are, but the idea is the same. I don't really want to crush this because I just want it kind of like nice. I want it like nicey's pieces. Nicey pieces. Nicey's pieces. For my foodie woody. Let's get that little like sort of like that waxy skin off. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell this is all awesome garlic because it all has a little green tip and it's all falling out of the peel. So sitting my ass down and listening. Oh shit. Thank you for the sub, James, my guy. Welcome, welcome. Listening to the garlic. Louis. Bello, welcome, welcome. I hope we're all doing well. This is actually a vegetarian meal today. It's not, it's super not vegan, but it is a vegetarian meal today. Which is a nice change of pace. I think the last one you were here for was like the 12 animal stew, so hopefully that'd be a little more enjoyable. I'm just splitting these to get the green parts out. It's not that big of a deal, but I want it to look nice, so I'm just gonna do that. Putting all my halves over here. The sprouts don't matter a whole lot when you're cooking it, but because we're making like a sort of a quick tomato sauce, I don't want the garlic to be so strong, and that's when I would like to take the sprouts out. You can see I've got the oil in the pan to start here, cold, and I like doing this for I like doing this a lot for simple tomato sauces, where you just sort of want like a little simple flavor. I love starting off the oil and the garlic cold in the pan. I don't know if it's tradition, but to me, I feel that when the garlic heats up nice and gradually, you get to coax a lot more subtlety and roundness out of the flavor in a much shorter time. Because by the time the oil is ready to go for the tomato paste and the onion I'm going to toss in there as well, I find it's a nice combination. I think it goes very well. Welcome to being able to use emotes, my guy. Feast mode activated. Feedmemore.com. And we're going to get over to the stove in a second here and turn the heat on for this oil and garlic. I'm just using olive oil, of course. I have a buddy who gets me a hookup on like the restaurant olive oil. But it's like the kind where it's not for finishing, it's for cooking. It's also like has a noticeable olive oil flavor, which I like in a lot of foods, but isn't like cheap or shitty. And it's also not like it's not like special or anything. Like it's not like a fancy olive oil. It's just like a decent one that you can cook with without feeling weird about it. And it's also got a nice flavor, and I like all those things. And I think I might add a little bit more oil in there actually. So we'll turn that up to medium. Get a little more oil in there. And we'll wait for that to make some sort of smell and sound. True Ghost XD. Holy cow. I've been good. Who on earth is this? Who is this? Who is this? Who's spamming my chat? Who are you? Alright, well, feel free to throw all those emotes. That's fun. That's fun for me. I've been good. I'm gonna hit a couple of these. So yeah, I'm gonna get an onion. I think probably just one nice small one. That's a bad onion, and we're gonna throw that one away. I'm gonna open these guys up and see what we can get out of them. I think between these two, we'll have one full onion that's usable. Don't know if this is actually true. My family's lore is the garlic raises the smoke point. I believe that is completely not true, but it is a nice thing to believe. Also, welcome Lydia, hello. I don't think that's true. I've never heard that posited before, and I don't know what chemically in the garlic would ever cause that to happen. So I don't believe that's true, but it is a nice idea. My understanding is that when you have complex sugars in vegetables and alliums like garlic and onion, etc., garlic especially, normally cooking it down is what brings out those flavors. And when I put it in cold like that, you get to bring up to temp, and it sort of coaxes out flavors that normally you'd have to like caramelize the garlic for. But I kind of don't want to caramelize garlic flavor. I just want like a mild sweetness and still like a nice garlic punch to it. Yeah, so you're starting to just barely smell it now, but we'll let that rock for a little bit. How long have you been cooking for? 12 to 13 years professionally, and more than that casually, I guess is the answer. This onion's looking pretty good. I think we'll just be happy with this guy. And we'll toss this in once the oil is sort of like at temp. Just like a nice small dice, nothing crazy. We're doing some almost no board work today. I'll show you in a second what I spent my morning working on as part of the prep for this one. I like to try and keep the meals in one stream whenever possible, but because of the battery camera life I'm working around, I really didn't want to risk it this time. So you may notice a stack of crepes here. That is sort of our trick for today's fresh manicotti. This is something that I think I grew up eating all the time. My nonna used to make this. Just like a rough dice on this, it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal. I'm actually just gonna use the one onion as well. The other one was super overkill. That one ended up being pretty nice after you got the shitty outer layer off, so we're good for that for now. See how the oil is starting to become very, very fluid. It's starting to move around a lot more. Starting to get at temperature. I'll give it another couple seconds. I don't want any color on my garlic, so that's sort of my big tell. If the garlic starts to color, oh, we're getting some burbles. That's a really good sign. I like that a lot. I'm gonna give this about 2 minutes with just this nice mild heat on it, and I'll toss in my onion and we'll get rocking. Let me rinse this off real quick. But growing up, we would do these egg crepes. My nonna would call these scripelle. I think that's the Abruzzese term for them. This is the first one, always turns out shitty. And the rest are looking pretty gorgeous. And all largely very pale because these are going to, once again, bake in the oven as a pasta dish, right? So I'll show you what we're making with these in a second. But I wanted to sort of show this one, this color and sort of like that, like this speckling of like the nice like golden brown. This is what I would eat growing up. She would make these, she would do scripelle in brodo. So it was scripelle that was, she would make these. They're slightly thicker than a regular crepe. You can sort of just see my hand through them. So they're not thick, but they're thicker than like a French crepe, right? And she would get a little bit of, about this much color on both sides, so they have a bit of their own texture to them. They're soft in the middle, but the outside has a bit of that texture to it. And she would just sort of have those, and she would roll them up with a little bit of like just grated Parmesan in the center, and then serve them in like a homemade chicken broth, which was just fucking awesome. So I think I feel like I've talked about that before, but that was my like chicken noodle soup growing up, was scripelle in brodo. And there's other things you can do with scripelle, which are a very simple egg crepe. I didn't even like really measure this out when I made these. It's pretty hard to mess up. I will give you some rough guidelines for ratios if you're curious, but essentially this was, I also saved a bit of batter. I'm going to show you how I cook them off in case you're not familiar with crepes that much, you haven't done them too much yourself. I will cook one off in front of you just to show you a good way to get a nice result. But the other ones I made ahead of time because you have to rest the batter and I just didn't want to run into time issues on stream. So I figured that'd be the smart way to go about it. So onions in now. Just gonna bang that off a bit. We're gonna get some salt and pepper in here and let this sweat out for a couple minutes. But once again, no real color, just gonna give it a good like, just gonna cook it through a pretty healthy amount. All right, we'll start off with that. That's good to start off with. And maybe a little oregano, yeah. And that's gonna make me happy, cool, okay. All right, so we'll cook that out for a little bit. This is sort of like an insanely simple tomato sauce. It's pretty similar to like pizza sauce, but I'm gonna cook it for like 15 minutes longer than a pizza sauce would really go for. Sort of the main difference here. Let me get this heated up. I'll show you how to cook one crepe exactly. So medium heat, not very hot. Some moisture that absorbs heat as it evaporates. Yeah, I think that that's probably true. That's probably a lot closer to being true in my mind as far as how garlic interacts with oil like that. I do think it's a better way to prevent the oil from, it prevents the garlic from scorching because it's more acclimated to the temperature of the oil. So you do have a much bigger window before the garlic starts taking on color, and it's a lot easier to manage. Honestly, in addition to being one of my favorite ways to make a nice simple sauce, it's also just really easy because you have so little risk of actually scorching or browning or burning anything. So for that reason alone, I'd recommend it to most people. But I also find that the quality of the garlic flavor just feels a little bit nicer to me. Getting a couple bits that are getting a little bit of color on them, a little bit of browning, and that's okay. Just gonna really keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't go any further past that. But the onions are just about cooked through before I add the tomato paste in. So I'm gonna grab that. A little bit of a mess in there, but that's okay. We got the good stuff today, baby. Got the metal tube. Outstanding. Let's see, other big ingredient for this is gonna be a bunch of parsley, which is somewhere in the fridge. Probably in the vegetables drawer. Nice. And there's my parsley. Beautiful. We'll get the salad spinner out for that. Alright, cool. So yeah, these scripelle, you can sort of wrap them anything in them, but we're gonna do manicotti, which is manicotti is also a pasta, like a dry pasta shape you can find. It's not insanely common, but if you want to picture like a really big tube like rigatoni, but like that big, and you would then par cook it like lasagna, and then stuff it or fill it up like a cannoli with like a ricotta filling. But it's gonna be a savory ricotta filling because we're making dinner with tomato sauce. So if you don't want to do that, you can just make homemade like egg crepes. And these are, so this is about 6 eggs. Is that much crepes? 6 eggs, 1.5 cups of flour, and then I would start with about 1.5 cups of milk and or water. Either one, whatever you want to use. I don't like eating too much milk for my tummy. So I did about a 1/2 cup milk just to finish off what we had in the fridge, and then I did about a cup of water. And you want to whisk that insanely heavy, and like a lot of heavy whisking until there's basically no clumps of flour. You want a completely smooth batter. Also, I like adding a big fat pinch of salt, and I like adding a nice hoot of olive oil too, just because I like the flavor of the olive oil being in there. I cook them off in olive oil too, but I like the flavor being all the way throughout. And that's why I like having an olive oil that you can taste the olive oilness of. I think it adds a really nice subtle flavor to stuff like that. So my recommendation for sure. And here we have 1 crepe left of batter. I just wanted to show you guys how I made these. So I took these and I whisked them mad hard until I figured there was no more flour clumps. And then you have to sort of give it a break for 15 to 20 minutes. And this is to let the flour relax again. Because in the same way that like you're making pasta dough, I hate these fucking lids. They're so annoying. Oh my god. Fuck, 1 second. My brain is shutting down. Okay, we're back. So you're gonna make a nice thin crepe batter like this, like just super liquid. It's much thinner than pancake batter, right? And also, like I said, you want no visible clumps. You can see a couple little bumps in there. It will be okay, but as little of that as possible is way better. Let me just stir that up real quick. Sorry, I got a lot of irons in the fire currently, but we'll let this. Well, this will get simmering real soon, and then we'll stop worrying about it. All right, so just getting the tomato paste some color. This is gonna fry for a couple minutes, and then we can toss in the passata, and then just like, you know, give it a nice simmer for a little bit. This is starting to get temperature, so a little bit of olive oil, like truly a little bit, and then it's gonna be hot, so be careful and fold up your paper towel nicely so that you're making a nice little corner. So you see how my finger's not touching the hot stuff? But I have that nice just like dusting. And if you're doing a lot, you would keep this and you would reapply that layer of olive oil in between crepes, right? But I'm just doing the one, so this is all I need for now. So, garbage. And this is basically how I would treat a crepe. You don't need a special pan for this, just any nonstick pan is gonna be great. If you can hear sizzling, your heat is probably a little too high, but that's okay, because you can adjust that, and you are gonna adjust that right away. So you pour in whatever batter, you start rolling it around. And this is a little bit too much batter for 1 crepe, but I just wanted to make sure I had enough to show you guys, so I pulled it aside. And just keep swirling it until it kind of starts solidifying too much and it's not gonna swirl so good. But just giving it a run around. And when you start getting these really sluggish individual drips here, everything's pretty much starting to cook and settle. And that's about as much motion as you're gonna get, so don't worry about it past that point. Give this a nice stir. Starting to smell very nice, a very nice tomato smell. Actually, that's probably enough for the paste, so I'm gonna get the passata in there. This is gonna make more sauce than I'll need for this dish, but we love having leftover sauce around the house. It's such a good staple, so I'm not too concerned about using all of this. We are, of course, gonna give this a nice rinse out with that water. Beautiful. And just get all the crap off the sides. Don't want to waste any. And the water is going to help thin it out and give you something to reduce off of. which is going to help actually develop the flavor, basically. All right, so that's enough time for the crepe. So pretend this wasn't in the sink, and then just give it a little wipe down, and you start going around the edges here, and it's just pretty much totally released. Pick it up, and that is basically just how easy the crepes are. Nice non-stick pan, they'll cooperate completely. It is gonna puff up a little bit if it sits for just too long. But like I said, if you want to do them in broth, I would get a lot more color on them. If you're doing them sort of like this for the oven, then that's like at this point, once it flips one time, it's cooked through. So I'll turn the heat off. I've got my oven preheating now, 350, regular bake, nothing crazy. And you see I've got my dish here to get everything into. All right, so now that all of our initial like stovetop stuff is sort of wrangled up, I've got this ready to go. So it's gonna start simmering down and chilling out. And sort of while this is simmering out, we're gonna prep the actual everything else. And the first step of that is to finally get this rinsed off. Did a little bit much running around there, but it's okay. And here, yeah, so that's really gorgeous. And if I wanted to do this in broth, I'd be really happy with that texture. But for the oven, it'll be fine too. However, you probably just don't need to cook it as much for the oven. Not a big deal. Alrighty, so recycling. And we're gonna wash off the parsley. I'm just gonna chop up probably this whole bundle. I don't think I'll be using nearly all of it. But I'm going to be using the rest later on in the week for the falafels. So get excited for that if you like a falafel. I just like doing a rough tear with the band still on, get all the stems off, and then the rest of this can just go right in there. I'm going to be chopping it by hand, so I want to sort of keep it together. It's going to make it easier to chop it up. And get some cold water on these guys. This one big ass stem that is just totally backwards. Be yourself, you know? Just like, do your thing. Alright, that's enough water. So that'll sit here for a minute or two. Let me get this all gathered up. And garbage and compost. And don't worry about the dishes, we will have a lot of time to work through them as the food is cooking. Which I sort of planned for. That's the issue with doing some foods on this in this format, where it's like if this is going to be in the oven for 30 minutes, I have nothing to do. I'm kind of building up dishes for when that happens so that I have something to fucking do while talking. Fault of the format, I suppose, but I think it works out okay. We'll see how it goes. All right, so at this point, we're not really quite at a simmer, but I think these two tools will be fine to get us to where we want our sauce to be. They're not behaving so good on, wow, that's hot as a motherfucker. So this oven, this burner is the vent for the oven, so that is just fucking so hot from sitting on there. So if you have my shitty oven, don't do that. Otherwise, you should be fine. Oh my god, I'm actually so annoyed. Fuck. Alrighty. So that's probably about good for the parsley. Alright. Couple spins. Damn, arms and chest at the gym is really killing me. This whole, like, all this work here is just so sore. And no shitty oven. That's right. No shitty oven. Only impatient cooks. That's what we're saying. That's the motto. Oh, good gravy. Okay. Now we're gonna get chopping on this. Gonna get a big old bowl for the filling. I'll show you guys what I'm making in a second, but I'm gonna start off with the big bowl for all my parsley. Sort of add it as I need. Shitty wizard. Oh, shitty wizard. That's right. Any of y'all playing Dota lately? Me and Cam have been playing a lot of Dota lately. And by a lot, I mean I was in one low prio game yesterday and it almost ruined my life. And if I have to play low prio again, I'll probably feel better about it because I've done it once. But it was crazy. I was going fucking crazy. Alright, so I'm just going to give this a nice little chiffonade. Sort of rolling it back onto itself and then holding it down and then just going like... And me personally, if it's like fresh parsley, the stem is as good as the leaf as long as you cut it up nice and fine. It's just like juicy, milder chives, you know? I think it's just really lovely. Alright, I'm starting to run into something here. Oh yeah, I've picked up a friend. Okay, well, calm that guy back down. Pass over these. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Dota, definitely a maybe I should text her type of game. Yeah, I've been seeing that experience a lot with sort of like millennial guys seem to sort of just have that experience. We were at a birthday party for a friend of ours, and a bunch of his buddies who were like you know, like guys in bands in the city who were otherwise fairly gainfully employed. We mentioned Dota and they all sort of went like, yeah, I've been playing that again, and it's just so beautiful and it feels good every time. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Just like a mystifyingly well-made game that is so enthralling. I think that game is enthralling. Obviously, League has a lot of money behind it, so I get how that can be someone's career. But in terms of how static that game feels moment to moment and how the changes just don't seem interesting or engaging to me in the way that, like, I kept up with the Dota patch notes. Whenever I wasn't playing the game, I would keep up with Dota patch notes. I was geeking out. Yeah, they were all really, they weren't strong enough to handle a goth woman who plays Venomancer. That's damn true. My beautiful girlfriend, the Venomancer queen. That being said, I have had Venomancers who do fuck all. Fuck all. My little low prio misadventure yesterday, I was laning with a Veno who didn't want to help me. He just wanted to farm ancients with wards, which is fine, I guess, but I didn't like it very much. Wasn't for me, I'll just say that, wasn't for me. Also probably not indicative of Venomancers as a whole, as a society, as a people, etc. So, not really fair to make a judgment on that way. Alright, that's our parsley chopped up. I'm going to keep the board out here. I'm just going to give it a nice little pat dry, get rid of the excess moisture. Because I'm going to be building on here in a second. Let's go live in Venomancer Society. Facts. Venomancer Society would go hard as hell, honestly. It'd be so beautiful in there. Alright, cool. Actually, that's all of our knife work today. Can you believe it? That's all of our knife work. Alright, cool. We're getting some nice bubbles here. Just keep it moving, keep it stirring so that when it's caramelizing on the bottom, it's not burning. Tomato sauce is thick and it doesn't move itself too much, right? So you want to make sure it's moving off the bottom so you're not burning the bottom. I just want you two to both sit here. Okay, fine. We're gonna use the spat then. That's fine. That's fine. Probably needs a good hit of salt. I'll add a lot more later, but I'll just do that for now. And I'm gonna move this away so I don't get tomato sauce on my salt. Okay, that's looking good. Here's the other stuff. It's gonna go into our filling here. Silani ricotta. And about half of a ball of mozzarella grated up. So it's about 2 cups of grated mozzarella here, which should be about good for what we need. I'm probably going to use about half of that in the filling, and then probably like half of that just for the top, I think, for like the topping at the end. You'll see what I'm talking about. Wait, I'm goated.png. Played one low preg and went insane. Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's the thing, is like, it was kind of beautiful. It was also over quickly. It was only 26 minutes of a bad game. And every other game we've had has either been fulfilling or valuable, or it's like a game that we won after 55 minutes of struggle, which is such, like, winning a game of Dota from behind is not the way that, like, winning from behind in League feels like, never earned, in a way that winning from behind in Dota does not feel. Winning from behind in Dota always feels like, I actually, you know what, I'm worth it. This was for me. I deserve this. That 70-minute game, yeah, that's true as hell. Oh, they gave me the hollow ricotta. Can you believe it? Now this stuff should be fine. It's a little bit low on moisture, but that's kind of good for what we're doing here. So I'm gonna take like just about half of this for now. That'll probably be good for now. We'll start with that. I might need more later. And we'll toss in about half of our mozzarella here. Yeah, we're probably using all the ricotta, actually, come to think of it. And we're sort of just gonna start doing this to it, sort of mashing it up, getting everything evenly distributed. And just started tossing in some big handfuls of the parsley for appearance's sake. I want my filling to be nice and have a nice color and consistency throughout it. You know what? Actually, it's time for the glove. I'm getting a little bit too much stuff stuck on the end of the... I'll turn my heat down a little bit. Having kitchen gloves, you know, it really makes a nice time with some tasks like this. All my stuff's getting caught in my spoon. Just get your hand in there. And if you don't have gloves and you're just making it for yourself, just use your bare hand. I know it's a textural thing. I know it can be very unpleasant, but wash your hand beforehand, wash your hand afterward. It will be okay. And it makes this stuff go a lot quicker. So half the time I find that it's just valuable to get her done. I think I will be doing all of the ricotta, actually, I must say. You can also add an egg in here at this point. I don't find that to be super necessary because it's probably going to hold up just fine in the oven. If you were using, quote-unquote real pasta, I could see the egg as being a bit more important or helpful or making it nicer, sort of silkier. But I am just sort of gonna go with the ricotta and the mozzarella here and just sort of get it seasoned up to taste. This is gonna need a fair bit of salt to become palatable and viable in that way, so don't be afraid to add a bunch of salt. This is a lot of cheese, right? This is a lot of creamy, fatty stuff. And an egg does help with the richness, but it's not like it needs to set up firm or anything. It's gonna be nice and cheesy. It'll be fine either way. If you really want it to set up like almost custard-y, then you can feel free to add egg here. I just don't really see it being that useful. Personally, I don't like doing it that much. I'm gonna add one more ingredient here as well before we get too done with this. Yeah, that feels good. So we got about like, you know, enough mozzarella to add like moisture and like meltiness through the center of the ricotta. Healthy helping of salt here. That'll probably be good to start off. cheese slash hollow ricotta. Hollow ricotta. Ricotta. My family never had the, you know, American Italian accent. I know it's Canadian Italian up here, but like in some communities it is pretty similar. My family never quite had that. I think my cousins started putting it on as an affect when they started getting into industry and like manufacturing and stuff, and it just sort of was a cultural thing for them. Maybe for international trade, I'm not even sure. But growing up, we never really had that. So it's always very funny to me, always very fun to make fun of to that same extent. So if you're a genuinely Italian American, I apologize for being so disrespectful. However, I don't take you that seriously in the first place, so. Yeah, we're burbling up nicely here. This will be really good. Other stuff that could make the filling nice. A nice sharper cheese is gonna help a lot too. I'm just gonna find my little Pecorino Romano rind here. Oh, that little saucisson. That'll be nice to use up. I'm just gonna finish this thing off into my filling here. This would be nice for the topping as well, but I kind of really want some of that flavor on the inside. So I'm just gonna pop this open, position thusly, and get about as much of this as I'm willing to. As far down to that rind as I'm willing to go, honestly. We'll see how it goes. Well, we're getting a good amount out of it, which is nice. I was worried we'd have too little to make a big dent in like the flavoring here, but I think we should be in a pretty good spot. A couple more passes and I think I'm gonna call it. Oh, nice. Got a good bite out of my thumb on that one, which means we're just about done. Alrighty. Not bleeding, which is cool, but I think I'm gonna call it. It's a little more at the middle. Alright, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Oh, just a little more. Oh, a little more. Oh, a little more. Okay, and now we're done. If you don't have external mold bloom on your cheese, you can use this to toss into a sauce, but if you do have external mold bloom, see these little crevasses here? You have like some little black shit in there. Fine to be on the outside of food. Don't put it in your sauce, unfortunately. Pecorino is a little bit more fragile in the fridge than like a Parmesan. Great flavor, obviously, but like you just can't rely on it like that, so I wouldn't play around with that. I know people like to do that a lot. And it is a really nice way to make a sauce extra special if you do have them. But the thing to do is use your cheese faster, and when you notice that the rind is empty, you toss the rind in the freezer, and then you won't worry about it going moldy. You don't have to hold it in your fridge for when you're making a sauce. That's my official advice on that. However, as you can see, not all cheese rinds are well suited for that sort of thing. I do just like Pecorino so much though, so it's kind of my problem. I haven't bought like proper Parmesan in a while, honestly. Used to have it all the time growing up, but it's just easier to find Pecorino where I'm at right now, and it's about the same price anyways, so NBD. Not a big deal. Okay, that's probably about good. We're gonna start assembling these guys, which is a very simple process. And then once that's all wrapped up, we can start putting them into our beautiful little dish there. I'll show you what that looks like as well. But this is a pretty easy thing. It's a lot of small steps, but they're all pretty simple. And if you can do some of them well in advance, like the crepes you can do like the night before probably, because they're gonna get baked off anyways, so the texture is not like the be-all end-all of this dish. The tomato sauce also you can just fully have ready ahead of time as well. A good thing to use leftover tomato sauce as well. So if you've got like a pasta dish and you got like a cup or two left over, instead of making a whole big batch, you can just use the leftovers. So it's a very versatile kind of thing. Very easy to work with. Alrighty, let's get all that cheese mixed in there. This is a slightly low moisture ricotta, so I think I might splash a little bit of oil in there just to get it to sort of sit together. Although I'm seeing the argument for the egg now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm seeing the egg argument. It's pretty saturated with the parsley as well, which I like for color and texture a lot, but it is gonna help, it is gonna make it less, it's not gonna hold together quite as well if you add the parsley, because the parsley is not cheese, so creates like fracture lines for the cheese to not adhere to itself, which is fine for a lot of things. I like it personally. I think it's worth the texture. I think it's worth that flavor and the greenness. So this is our fucked up one. This is what happens when you don't swipe the olive oil out of the pan. It gets a little greasy like that, and it sort of absorbs the excess oil. So that is why your first crepe turns out bad, is because you didn't swipe the pan out. But then the first crepe swipes out the pan for you, and the rest turn out perfect. So I am going to put this to the side and probably not use this one. I'll eat that. That's right. Before we get loading up here, let's make sure we like where our seasoning's at. We're not going to add any more. Actually, we didn't add any pepper yet. I probably add some of that. But, okay. The pecorino did some serious work in there. I'm gonna add some pepper. But that's pretty well seasoned to me, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alrighty. So to make the manicotti, basically, I'm just sort of loading up my crepe here with our beautiful ricotta filling. Use your finger, it's okay. It does hold together pretty well, which should make this pretty easy. And yeah, just about that simple. And you just roll that shit up. And that is one gorgeous manicotti. And then we just keep rolling. We'll see how many we get here. I figured that this much is gonna be hella plenty leftovers for 2 people. Like dinner for 2, probably leftovers for 2 as well. But honestly, I didn't side this one out, so we'll find out how this goes. Pretty healthy filling on these. I'm not too concerned about that. I think probably one good serving would be 2 to 3 of these. And that'll probably be good for anybody. Oh shit, Iris, welcome, welcome. We're just rolling up our manicotti as we speak here. I might go a little lighter in the filling on the rest of these actually. I might undo the first couple and sort of take that stuff out. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this width on everything else, so bear with me. I'm gonna unroll these and take them apart a little bit here. Manicotti from heaven. Yes, I like the pun. Good work today. I'm just gonna restructure these, and once again, just use your hands, it's fine. Yeah, so I like this width a lot. That looks really, really good to me. Don't be afraid to go back and fix your mistakes. If you have one that you think is the best, make them all the best, baby. We got time. We got plenty of time here. Take about that much off again, sort of redistribute this little filling, maybe get a little pinch on there in the end. Yeah, beautiful. And this stuff is pretty easy to manipulate, so honestly, go to town with this stuff. It's really, really easy to play with and massage and move around. I'm just using my hands at this point. Fuck the spoon. Probably will get like a nice 6 out of this, I think. Out of the 1 container of ricotta. Should be nice. Be a nice meal. The beautiful manicotti. As far as alternate fillings for this, it is a fuck ton of cheese. But I'm sure there's other things you can do. As far as traditional, I mean, it would really just be this or like a ragu, honestly. But I think if you were to do like any sort of like maybe like a vegetable thing, like an eggplant, sort of like eggplanty mushroom situation. When I think of like savory Italian vegetables, those are always the two that jump to the top of my mind. Eggplant and mushroom, I think, would make a really nice filling. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get 6 nice ones out of this, which I think should be good for a baking tin, so I'm kind of excited about that. Was worried it would be way too far off base, but I think these will be just fine. All right, so we're going to have some excess crepes. Whoop-de-doo. Alrighty. So if you're making a lot of these, probably use a bit more ricotta than I did. I used 1 nice container. But if you want to make a lot, yeah, actually it's a little bit short for the 6th one there. That's okay. Definitely enough for me and my beautiful wife. And then you can always just make more filling, use the rest the next day, make a different filling. Another classic one for these would be like, we would do sort of stuffed shells in lieu of the manicotti. And the stuffed shells could have basically anything in them. But the classic was you do half of them ricotta filling, half of them meat sauce. But eggplant and mushroom is also a banger as well. If you're looking for a more vegetarian selection. This thing is just having a rollicking great time messing up my clean stovetop, which is okay. It's what we're here for. But we're just about at the point of checking this for salt and then sort of just going to town, I think. So let's get a good taste on that one. Not bad. I'm gonna give it a pinch of salt and a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. Yeah, that's cute. Okay. All right, so we ended up getting six ones. I would love to maybe try and reassess the filling level in some of these. Actually, I'd love to get them a little bit more even Stevens. These two are spot on. This one is looking a little heavy now. Can I pick it up? Yeah, we'll just do one of these. The hell is that sound? Yeah, that looks a lot better. I like that a lot. Oh, it does smell good. That's tomato, baby. Camille left her office to check on me. This one's also looking a little bit fat. I'm not too sure. I'll just squish it down a bit. It's okay. I'll go a little more end to end on this one. But yeah, these will be great. Okay, enough fucking around. Get you back in there. Beautiful. Alrighty. I think these should fill out my tray pretty nicely. I was kind of hoping that the width of my frying pan would sort of line up with the width of that tray. Nice little square tray there. I think you'll probably just get all 6 side by side, nestled nicely, and that should be a pretty good time. So, without further ado, let's get rocking here. If you're gonna work with the sauce hot, just be careful, obviously. We'll have plenty of time to clean the stove off, which is a nice habit to get into for when you are making a big fucking mess everywhere. Like me. Okay, so I'm gonna hold on to this for putting away the sauce later, the excess sauce. But for now, we're gonna go for a nice big scoop of sauce and put this down because it is metal and metal gets hot when hot things touch it. So don't be holding the metal thing when you put the friggin' piping hot sauce into it like you're about to do. More of a message for myself, but you know, hopefully someone else out there might learn as well from my mistakes. So a nice couple scoops of sauces for a nice base here. This sauce is going to caramelize and keep the pasta from burning, and it's going to add a crazy good texture as it cooks. Oh, these are gonna fit so good. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4. Oh, just perfect. Snug, side by side. Beautiful. 5. Oh, neighbors. Neighbors to the last. 6. Oh my god, that's so much better than I could have ever pictured. And then just over the top, enchilada style. We're making Italian enchiladas here. And I'm going crazy with the sauce here. This is gonna be a great time. Back of the ladle to give it all a nice big smoosh. This last one, I don't want it to burn onto the side there. So I'm going to sort of just like try and get some sauce down the side to make sure it doesn't actually like burn in there. Spilled a little bit, that's okay. We'll deal with that. All right, and this is hot sauce. This sauce is very hot, so be careful when you're doing that shit. Okay. It's looking really good in there. I am a big fan. I wish I could hang out in there. Haha. Just kidding, ladies. Is manicotti bothering you? I had Mexican manicotti the other day. Italian Tetris, let's fucking go. That's true as hell. And then just gonna finish off with the rest of my mozzarella here. This, honestly, for being once again another eyeball estimate certified classic for me, pretty good, pretty freaking good. Pretty happy with the sizing on this. Pretty happy with the dosing. Hell yeah. And just a little bit in the corners there. The last little bit of cheese, anywhere that you think needs a little bit more cheese. If you know anyone in your life who you think needs a little bit more cheese, just let them know, help them out, you know. And the rest of these I'll get to use in just a couple days time for my falafel, but we'll throw a bit of that on top before we throw it in the oven as well. Just for that pop of color so we don't go freaking crazy. I guess we'll have these like tomorrow. We'll make a little, I don't know. I don't know, make something, fuck. All right, and without further ado, with our oven at temperature. Do you see my little oven thermo in there? Look at her. It's actually running a little hot, it looks like, but not too bad. I'll probably turn it down a little bit, but for now it should be good. I think we're gonna also start off with some tin foil, and then we'll uncover it once it gets melted all the way through. And we'll get the top a nice color on it as well. So just tear like a perfect size piece of tinfoil because you're goated. Wait, I'm goated.png. I should get wait, I'm goated as a chat emoji actually. It's been a while. I need to get more emotes in my chat. All right, so once again, remembering that the sides and the bottom are really hot because we just made the sauce. Just grab the edges like that, pop her in there, and we will start a timer for 20 minutes while I dish up. Boom. Alrighty. Go back to the stream here. Get rid of all my... Oops, ignore all that shit. Ignore all that. Boom. Okay. So yeah, pretty easy all told. I always love dishes like these that give you the luxury of like lasagna without the back-breaking full day labor of lasagna. And I think that this is a really nice, compromise because you have something that's a lot easier to manage than like par cooking pasta, taking it out, messing around with it and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do love lasagna, but I think people like lasagna because people that weren't them made it for them growing up. As soon as it's time to make the lasagna, you will soon find that maybe you appreciate other things a little more, like your spare time, etc. Wait, I'm goated for real, for real. Haha, yes, yes. Wait, I'm goated. Wait, I'm goated. But in my opinion, lasagna is a great dish that people overhyped. I think lasagna is an overhyped dish because it is in reality so fucking actually time consuming to make. And yeah, I know that a lot of beautiful family meals are that, but I think lasagna, you know, people aren't talking about weeknight lasagna in the way that they're talking about weeknight, like, what is it, New Year's tamales, right? I think that every culture has these amazing, beautiful feast celebration meals, but lasagna got subsumed into generic American culture, and now people don't recognize it as the labor-intensive labor of love that it really is. Hi, baby. It's pretty whatever. It's just like a carrier sauce. I think it's acceptable. For like a less than 30-minute simmer, I'll say that's fine. Not too bad?
Not bad.
Not bad. Hee hee. Thanks, baby. I will go on record. Camille's red sauce, it's better than mine. It's actually really good. Because she's goated. Wait, she's goated. Wet hand. I love a $7 Trader Joe's lasagna that I don't have to prepare myself for. That's the thing, right? And like frozen foods are great. I love frozen foods. They are so easy and they're not like, you know, machine processed like fucking lab grown meat or whatever the hell all the goons are yelling about these days. Ultra processed, yada yada. Yes it is. Yes, for sure. Yeah. But it's also like, it's nice. I think the lasagna has done this thing where people sort of forget that it's like this big extravagant thing. And I don't know, I love lasagna, but making lasagna is unfucking real. And this is one of those things that has like the aura of lasagna when you're eating it that is just, oh my god, leagues easier to make. Like I made, like this is I think under 2 hours total prep time today, start to finish. I did do a bit of a pre-stream work today for this, but I think it was like, it's not that much, honestly, all considered. It was really just shredding the mozzarella and making the crepes was pretty much the whole thing. So I think that's very achievable for a random weekday, in my humble opinion. Just said weekday because I'm fucking so unemployed right now, it's embarrassing. So don't listen to that part maybe. But you can do the crepes the night before. As you can see, I even made too many crepes. There's still plenty of stuff to go around. So, yeah, I don't know. Not a bad one. I will say, I do think I should make some scripelle in brodo at some point soon. But I think that that's a boring... Maybe I guess you could watch me make the crepes from start to finish. But that's... Other than that, you've pretty much seen the process. But man, that meal meant so much to me growing up. Holy cow, I loved it. Alrighty. I love cleaning this thing because it just do whatever. Now we got a couple things to put away before we clean them, so let's get at those in a second. Yeah, jobless. Hashtag jobless. Welcome to fucking January. Fuck you, it's January. Hashtag fuck you, it's January. This year I got a bunch of recommendations from people for various places, and they seem pretty good, but a lot of them are just saying like, this looks cool, we'll probably be hiring in a couple of months. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Whatever, it's on me. That's on me. Jobless January. Yeah, I'd rather it not be, but if it's going to be, I guess it is, huh? God, this is my first time actively looking for work. Like actually like hunting for jobs. I think in like years, because the last several jobs in a row I've had, I've basically just either gotten recommended for or people sort of like offered to me unprompted. I think my last 3 jobs in a row were essentially like I was recommended for unprompted. So this is like it's flexing a little bit of unused muscles. So that'll be fun, I guess, but we'll see what happens. And there's still plenty of time for someone I know to recommend me for a job anyways, because that does happen, and I'm always grateful. So we shall see. But yeah, I'm trying out like record stores and stuff, because I've kind of always wanted to work in a record store. I feel like it could be a lot of fun. It's one of those jobs that I think in like as a teenager feels like a dream job, where it's like, oh my god, I get to look at CDs all day. It's beautiful. And then you grow up and you realize, oh, there's a lot of like data entry and stuff. But then if you're like me, you grow up and you go, oh, but I fucking love data entry. And then it becomes a dream job again because it's data entry about stuff that's awesome. I'm just gonna eat this. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. A nice piece of garlic in there. Oh, baby. Oh. So yeah, for that reason, it feels kind of like a dream job again, with hopefully more of the correct context as per the real world. And yeah, I figure why not? I've done a lot of kitchen work. And I'm at this point where I don't really know what sort of work around food would feel fulfilling for me. And, you know, it's a confidence thing, I think, for sure. But a big part of it is just like, I think I have to come to terms with the fact that my dream job in food is academia adjacent and not restaurant adjacent. And entering academia in the big 2026 just feels like painting a big target on my back. That says big stupid idiot, thought it would be fun, thought it would be easy, thought that because it was a working trade it didn't actually mean it was real ass academia. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think my friends who have been around post-secondary education can attest to that. But here's the thing, I haven't actually been in post-secondary education like ever. I don't count chef school. So they need you on TV. No, stop referencing the fucking show where the guy who runs the show personally doesn't like me. Like, sorry, I'm just saying. Matt Johnson is a bitch, and he's weird at me. It's weird. He's weird. I've told you this so many times. It's fine. I know it's the greatest show ever made or whatever. The fucking Chud Toronto boys, they're not actually Chuds, and this is character slander. I'm doing character slander because I'm mad. Yeah, I should be on TV, I know, but like I'm not. So what are we gonna do? Born too faggot to be on television. Born too late to be in academia before things got really weird, or whatever. Born too early to be a space trucker, I guess would be the other thing. One of those. Born too early to do cyberpunk stuff. I guess? I don't even know. I don't know what the alternative would look like. It's crazy how when I play Of the Devil, I just think like, damn, these people have like a community and shit. That's crazy. It is obviously bad to be in the future and everything's bad, I know, but it's kind of cool. They did a good job making the game cool because it is cool. It does feel cool to be in. I don't know. Who else has something depressing about the future they'd like to say? It's so fucked up that Nirvana, the band, the show, has personally blackballed me from Toronto's acting scene for seemingly no reason, they're saying. I don't really get it. It's strange. The animals are leaving. That's true. Hi, the animals are leaving. Bye, animals. We have cyberpunk stuff like vapes. That's actually so true. He looks so uncomfortable when we pass him on the street. It's true, he does. That's what I'm saying. Cammy thought I was exaggerating it until it happened, and then she went, "No, that's actually true." And it's like, yeah. Just a heads up for all the wokes out there. Don't congratulate a director on his awesome movie the day after you see it. If he's in public, he will crash out and not talk to you, and then just stare at you every time he sees you in passing, which is like honestly once every month or two, once or twice every month. And then it turns out that he's like he's dating this friend of one of your coworkers who's lovely, and then she mentions it, and it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. But it worked out pretty good, and we didn't do that, and it's been chill. That's about a half cup of parsley, so perfect for falafels. Right in there. All right, we're gonna deal with this now. Get my friggin' Swedish paper towel. I kind of love this thing. Next time I'll give him my disarming smile and say hi. Okay, Lydia, the whole story is just that I was working in Toronto's beautiful West End, and I was on the clock at this time, and recently the film Blackberry had come out, and I watched it the night before. I was like, oh, that was a super fun movie. It's entirely possible that this film was at the time not in theaters, or there was some reason where he would have immediately clocked that I pirated the film. Maybe that's part of it. I'm willing to entertain that that's part of what's going on here. But I had just seen Blackberry. Great film, really enjoyed it. And the very next day, I'm at work and I'm moving outside. I'm between two buildings because my job was like, we had a building up the way and we had a sister store that was down the block. So oftentimes we would be out doing a delivery between the two stores by hand. Like I'd have like a dolly, I have stuff in the dolly, right? And I was walking down and I see Matt Johnson, and he's not in the middle of a sentence. He's not in the middle of talking, but I just go, oh shit, I really liked your movie the other day. I just saw it, really good movie. And he was like, he looked at me just stunned, and he just sort of like nodded with his mouth hanging open. He didn't say anything. It was so weird. He still never said a word to me to this day. But from that point on, that was about whenever Blackberry came out, that was like 3 years ago. And then every month or so, I just see him in the city because we're like basically neighbors apparently. And I try and smile and wave, and he just does nothing. He just says nothing to me. He gives me like the weird nod and sort of like half nod, half like staring. And then I found out that he was actually like a professor at a drama college somewhere, doing drama somewhere. And our good friend Ella said that her friend from high school was dating him after he was her teacher at the college, which is like, that's whatever, fierce, whatever. I think it's beast mode for women. And then Ella, our good friend Ella, was like saying hi to Matt Johnson and waving and stuff, and they were like talking. But I was also talking with Ella, and then Matt Johnson just sees me there again, and he's like, what the fuck, this fucking tranny won't leave me alone or something. It's like, no, dude, we have adjacent circles. And then after this point, I was at the sports bar that I worked at for a bit, and I was making food. I was in the kitchen, and I was making hog dogs and stuff like that. Dude comes in, sees me in the kitchen, we make eye contact, he orders 3 hot dogs, I make him 3 amazing hot dogs, he eats them, and then he leaves, and him and the owners are pretty tight, and they just, once again, not a word to me. It was the craziest shit ever. It was so weird. Like, I will admit, if you're him, it's crazy how much you see me in different places in this neighborhood. That's totally, like, fair play. It is uncanny. But at the same time, bro, say hi. So crazy. I think I'm like a month off from seeing him at like a house party where we are both guests at the house party. That's how it feels like. It's felt like that for a couple years. I don't know. It makes me feel crazy. Anyway, that's my personal beef with Matt Johnson, director of the fantastic film Blackberry, which I really enjoyed. Hashtag beef history. Maybe he wasn't used to being recognized. It's true. I am basically a personal It Follows just for him. Yeah, no, it's the thing is like like when I think about it reasonably, it is uncanny how much I am around this neighborhood and how often I see him. It's weird. But also, I stay fucking busy. There's a lot of people who work and live in this area who they've been customers of mine at 4 different places over the years, and they are able to be normal to me. So there. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, I'm like his personal villain, which is kind of fun for me on one level, but it also means I can't even watch the show without feeling kind of weird about it. So to this day, I've still never really watched the show. I know it's good, but but don't recommend it to me, or else I'll give you that sob story again, and it'll piss you off. That's my lesson. Why is this not sitting? Oh, because that pokes out too far. Can you go here? Oh, that's so much better. Oh my god. I need a new knife block anyways, but at least I finally figured out why it was so wobbly. 2026 is going to be the year of I accidentally did Molly at a house party. Oh, if I do Molly at a house party, I'll have a lot of different issues for this year than I expected. But fair enough. I see we got 3 minutes left on our initial 20 minutes here. Let's see what we're looking at. Alrighty, and for the tin foil, just find a corner of it that isn't on the metal. We're melting up pretty good here. I'm liking that, that's cool. Now we'll just sort of bump that back on. Put that whole thing back in there. I'm gonna give that, I think, I really want to heat through the center. Let me set this for 7 minutes, and then we'll take the top off and get it browned. I think that should be about good. Oh, I got some wet spots on the back of my phone here. Pardon me, everybody. Okay, just wipe that down a bit. I think in the meantime, we can knock out the rest of these dishes. Oh, I was gonna make the radicchio side salad like I always do. Oh, I may as well do that, yeah. This is the same salad you've seen me make like a billion times at this point. But I do have a little bit of leftover dill. That's actually kind of nice. So we'll make it nice. Alrighty. This is just from when we were making the we were rolling them, so that's probably fine. Let's give it like a friggin' one of thems. Let's get one of thems out there. That's about good. Yeah. I do see we are wilting a bit at the bottom. That's okay. Camille made a beautiful borscht soup that we still have some leftovers of. So we're definitely gonna enjoy that with the remainder of the dill. Get in there. Get in my fridge. There we go. Okay. Big bowl. Second biggest bowl. Sorry for tormenting you over your Matt Johnson beef. It's okay. It is funny. I think it is funny, and I should watch the show, but like I said, it's literally been weird IRL, so it's hard for me to watch the show, even though I know it's funny as fuck. And he probably didn't make any of that show with me in mind. Probably. If I do watch any of the new stuff and I find like he's cast a doppelganger to play me as like a weird freak, I would actually crash out badly. I will say that. So if I ever find out, Matt Johnson, that that's what you've been doing this whole fucking time, I will find you and I will kill you. Alrighty, let's make some beautiful salad. Yep, awesome. Okay. Clipping the death threat. Yeah, you know what? I stand by that. I got no choice to not stand by that. The episodes where he gets horrible shit done to him. I don't need a cathartic evaluation of Matt Johnson's like TV show. I'm sure he's a normal guy. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's a normal guy, but like I have developed a literal reflex when I see him to avoid eye contact like a large ape. Like that's the relationship that I have with Matt Johnson. I'm just saying, like it's weird. I will give it a shot though. I will give it a shot, I promise. Feel free to clip the death threat. I kind of need the attention, honestly. I kind of need the publicity at this point, so I'm not too proud. I think you've seen me make this exact salad like 3 times so far. I just love doing this whenever I have Italian food. Bitter, bitter greens. So yummy, so clean. And they're not even green, they're red. They're food, and that is all. They're food, and they're so good. This time, I think the dill is going to add a nice little tang, which should be really entertaining. I'm going to see if we got any like large guys in here, or if we got a bunch of nice, cooperative, good pieces. I think we're in the good piece range. Let's tear that in half. Looks about good. And we'll just sort of give this in a little choppy poo, nothing crazy. Is that radicchio? Yes, yes, it is radicchio, the greatest Italian vegetable of all freaking time. I love it so much. I love radicchio. It's my favorite. Once I found out that most of the grocery stores here do actually have it, just from different, just like in random places in each store, I've become re-addicted to radicchio. Re-addicted to radicchio. It's like almost a pun. Hashtag motion. Real as fuck. This is the 2026 of hashtag motion if I ever heard one. Holy cow. Let's all get some hashtag motion this year in a major way. I bought the friend I was visiting last week a bottle of Fernet and made them Fernet con cola. Yo, did you like it? How was it? Initial reviews were unfavorable, but I have been since been informed they finished the bottle. Yeah, okay. I think honestly, Fernet is one of the best ways to convert someone to a bitter flavor, because it has so much intensity and it's so fucking interesting and so good. I'm gonna go for the white vinegar here. Let's start with that. Should be good. Oh, let me tell you guys, I'm excited to get this thing. I'm excited to get this brown on the top of it. Where's my shitty plastic tongs? Just for salads. Beautiful. Hello, gorgeous. I did not mean to call you shitty. Yeah, nice. Oil, vinegar, salt, and pepper. And I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar because it is radicchio, and it does need a little bit of that balancing act. That's probably about good. Lydia, I did not say your name, I don't think. Unless you meant vinegar. I did say vinegar, but that's more of your handle, isn't it? I said white vinegar. Oh shit. Okay, white vinegar would be like a crazy rap name though, seriously. Oh man. Alright, okay. Timer's done. Let's take that out and take the top off and get it a little bit of color. Beautiful. Oh yeah. It's just barely sticking to the top. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Didn't lose barely any cheese. Pretty cool. And I'm going to flip this thing right onto broil and just pop it right back in. It should be pretty quickly done. Pretty quick. Let's get a second oven mitt thing. This thing is fucking low-key a huge hazard and doesn't actually absorb any heat at all, but it is actually better than nothing. Oh yeah, very nice. Cool. Turn the light on so we can look at it. Oh, okay, wash the knife again. And if my broiler is paying attention, this should not take longer than a couple minutes. So you're not gonna go anywhere. Not gonna walk away at all. Oh, pardon me. A little bit of gunk in me nose, pardon me. Jason Williams' ball hog cousin. That's really fucking good. That's a +2 for me. I like that one a lot. For some reason, Jason Williams is the king of my YouTube Shorts algorithm right now. I just get his fucking southern ass talking about how he's like, believe it or not, I'm not actually a black guy. And then everyone goes, yo! And that's sort of most of his interviews, it turns out. He also talks about how he doesn't really mind if his son doesn't go into basketball, because he clearly doesn't seem to have any interest in it, apparently. I don't know. I think Jason Williams is like one of those guys who seems like the ultimate normal guy who people just go like, fuck, I wish everyone was so fucking normal like him. God, the world would be fixed if everyone was fucking normal like this guy. And I think it's weird. But he seems fine. He seems like a fine and normal guy, which is good. And God, some of those behind the back passes, are you kidding me? His elbow pass? Oh my God. When he was on the Kings, and they weren't even winning a damn thing. He got his chip, though. He got his chip in Miami. That's cool. It was worth it. Was he on the Heatles teams? I guess he was, right? It's hard to... I don't really think about those guys as coinciding, but I guess they must have, by definition. He's like, yeah, he's a really good median guy, but I think that median guys are subject to this sort of like weird over positive scrutiny from people who are so cynical they think that the world is collapsing and that the median guy doesn't exist anymore. So when they see a median guy, they lose their... Show them a median guy, everyone loses their damn minds. But like people will talk insane about him in the way that they wouldn't talk about like people that are actually impressive, you know? Not that Jason Williams isn't cool. He's a cool guy, but I feel like you get what I'm saying. It just makes me feel really weird. One of those weird, like, internet... It's one of those, like, things that only people who don't get off the fucking computer will ever arrive at as a conclusion. It's the always online thing for straight people, in my humble opinion. We're getting a good burble there. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer. Just a little bit. And then I think we will have a gorgeous meal ahead of us. Oh, Manaj. The fuck was that sound? Oh, is that my... Oh, that's the battery running out. Okay, the battery's gonna run out, guys. I don't even have time to turn it off, but... look at this. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Aha. Okay, amazing.